So in this segment, we're going to be talking about the kind of it's hard to describe actually the choices the government are making to deal with violence against women, I guess, or trying to deal with some of the issues that women are having within the country, predominantly because of men. And on this particular panel, which was chaired by Boris Johnson, the Minister for Women and Equalities was not there, which is a bit surprising considering that's part of her job. But this position, this ministerial position, is a bit of a joke, especially considering Liz Truss is also in charge of trade. So she wouldn't spend that much time in the country anyways, because she's off trying to get rollover trade deals with the countries that we had trade deals with before. So it's a bit stupid. It's a bit stupid that this position is set up like this. I guess it's designed to actually make as little progress as possible. So if we look at the situation with the panel first, and then some of the recommendations or ideas the panel has come up with, we will learn that the government actually has no clue. So the Minister for Women will not attend Boris Johnson's summit on violence against women, Downing Street has said. I'm not saying Liz Truss would make some sort of revolutionary arguments and ideas that will help save women, but the point being is that she should really be there. It's kind of her job. So she will not be there. The Prime Minister announced last night that he would be chairing a special meeting of Crime and Justice Task Force to discuss further steps to protect women and girls and make sure our streets are safe. It's understood that alongside the Prime Minister at the meeting will be Met Commissioner Cressida Dick, Home Secretary Priti Patel, and Justice Secretary Robert Buckland, and Director of Public Prosecutions Max Hill. So you have how many dudes is that? Three dudes and two women. Priti Patel, who is pushing through legislation which will effectively ban effective protests, and Cressida Dick, who is the in charge of the Met Police and is just going to push for more police officers, which is something that we will kind of see in the solutions. So, but no minister from the Government Equalities Office, including Women and Equalities Minister Liz Truss, will not be attending. The government has long been criticised for making the role a part-time post. Ms Truss is also Secretary for International Trade and President of the Board of Trade, so she is fairly busy getting rollover deals. But the position was held by Amber Rudd, who was in charge of work and pensions. What a horrible job she did there, and Home Secretary. So this position is a bit of a joke, and it's always been joint with another department since it was created in 97. So Labour treated it as a bit of a joke as well, to be honest. This should really be a full-time position. Asked if Liz Truss was too busy, the Prime Minister said, "I've set out who's attending, so you're aware the Prime Minister will chair it. You've got an attendance list." And asked how the government can say it's taking women's equality issues seriously when nobody from the Equalities Office will be there. The spokesperson said, "As you know, this is an existing forum and it is a task force that has met previously. The Home Secretary is leading, and the Home Office leads when it comes to policing matters." So it's not a great situation already from the jump. But if we actually look at the specifics of solutions, so they've come up with an additional 25 million for better lighting. Let's not forget here that it was the Conservative Party's cuts to councils, which led to councils, cutting streetlights, which was probably one of the dumbest things I've ever seen any kind of, elected, group do. Turning off the lights, it's just, it's dangerous for multiple reasons. Not just because you're going to slip and fall when it's muddy, but also the fact that you can get attacked in the dark and no one will see anything, and it does lower the chance of you actually being found. So that's stupid. But I think the even more dumb one is to have plainclothes officers in pubs and clubs. The only thing they're going to catch really is drug users and drug dealers. That's the only thing they're going to really get. Which is just whatever your philosophy on drugs is, it's not going to solve the problem of violence against women, is it? Following a meeting of the government's Crime and Justice Task Force on Monday, Downing Street said it would take immediate steps to give further reassurance to women and girls in the wake of Miss Everton's death. It should say murder, really. Undercover police will be sent to clubs, bars, and popular night spots to relay intelligence about predatory or suspicious offenders to uniformed officers in pilots, so-called Project Vigilant, rolled out across the country. So you're going to get undercover police officers. Police officers the country is already short on, right, to spy on people in clubs and bars. That's really going to solve a lot of the problems, especially when bars already have bouncers, anyways, to deal with people who are, dodgy. So this is just dumb. Prime Minister Boris Johnson, who chaired the meeting, said the government was bringing in landmark legislation to toughen up sentences and put more police on streets. That's a good thing. Increasing mandatory minimums is a good idea, and having more police is also a good thing. But more needs to be done, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. He said, ultimately, we must drive out violence against women and girls and make every part of the criminal justice system work better to protect and defend them. But there are many other measures the government should be taking. But Labour Shadow Domestic Violence Minister Jess Phillips told the BBC that in her years of experience, she has not come across experts or victims claiming for more CCTV in public spaces. So it'd be interesting to see who advised the government on putting up more CCTV, and are people actually going to monitor the CCTV, because we know that on the smart motorways they're not being monitored. So having a camera is great and all, but you need decent cameras with high quality video and lighting and people to actually monitor these cameras. So yeah, Labour Shadow Home Secretary Nick Thomas Simmons said the measures were nowhere near good enough and called for urgent action on issues like harassment of women, domestic homicide sentencing, and more support for victims of rape. Labour MP Stella Cressley told BBC Radio 4 programme more funding for street lighting was not unwelcome, but it just doesn't understand what the issues are. Talking about the government here, she said measures focused on policing night spots do not recognise that women get abused, assaulted, and intimidated in all sorts of places. Not the strongest arguments from the Labour Party, to be honest. This is structural changes. So this is the group Reclaim the Streets. These streets who held the vigil recently, or about Sarah Everard's murder. Women won't be able to trust they are safe until misogyny and racism are tackled at an institutional level within government, police, and criminal justice. Home Secretary Priti Patel advised against the vigil, but it still went ahead. And in some places of the country, the vigil was held, peacefully with no problems. And in London, where the Met Police are, it was not held peacefully because the police decided to clamp down very aggressively. If the government were serious about this, it's not just about funding police. They would make legal aid more accessible. They would increase funding to the CPS, and they would further, increase mandatory minimums as well. They would also actually listen to more experts and more women on, how can domestic abuse be tackled. They would also be increasing funding to places to, not relief centres, but sanctuaries for women where they can go if they are being abused, in order to get out of a very toxic situation. They would also be increasing funding to councils to build more council housing, etc., to put women, to get women and not just women but also men, because men are victims of domestic abuse, to safe houses, to get them away from a toxic and potentially fatal home environment. That's something the government should be doing. These are the steps that I would take, or that I would take if I was in charge. Obviously, I don't have all the answers here, but increasing funding to the CPS, to courts, etc., to get more cases heard, to finally get justice for people who have been victims, is the correct thing to do here. But these are not the measures the government are going to take. I don't know if having Liz Truss on this panel would make any difference. It's not just having diversity of people, but it's about having diversity of opinion. And when you've got these people here, they were mentioned. Let's have a quick jump back to which people were on the board. When you've got the Prime Minister Boris Johnson, who has been accused of, touching women inappropriately. You have Cressida Dick, whose solutions can be have more police and more, more tougher, police authority, where she's one of the ones who wants the laws to clamp down on protesters. So she's going to be of no help here. Home Secretary Priti Patel, who's pushing through the legislation. Robert Buckland, who have no idea what he really believes, and Max Hill, who, again, I have no idea what he really believes either. But, where are the experts who actually have an understanding of domestic abuse, who have an understanding of the structures of what happens when a person is raped, and what systems do they go through to help them get justice for what has happened? without these things happening, without these conversations happening within government, we're going to get nowhere fast, and it's just going to be more symbolic talk from a government who loves to yap without offering any solutions. So, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.